Hi people, it's me, Anja. My pronouns are she and her, and welcome back to my channel for a new video that I don't think I've ever filmed before, similarly to my last video. And speaking of my last video, when I was talking about at the end of the video about how easy it is to get a library card, I just wanted to quickly clarify that I was speaking specifically to my American audience, because as an American, I feel as if Americans are often more privileged in certain elements than they think that they are. Like, obviously the US government is not very good right now, but in other ways, like, we do have more privilege sometimes than other countries. You know what I mean? Anyway, all that to say, today's video focuses on my favorite books with Sapphic disabled main characters, because I've done multiple videos in the past talking about my favorite books with Sapphic main characters, as well as my favorite books with disabled main characters, as well as my favorite books with queer disabled main characters. But today's video focuses primarily on specifically Sapphic disabled main characters. So anyway, without any further ado, the first book on this list is called Time and Time Again. This story is a YA contemporary following a lesbian main character with IBS who is stuck in a time loop with her childhood crush. I thought this book was so excellent and so well done. I love books with time loops so much, even though sometimes it's hit or miss, because sometimes, like, the story becomes very redundant very quickly, but this book was so exciting each time, because I truly loved it so much, and I loved how the romance developed over time, and it felt so well-paced and so adorable. I loved her family dynamics so much. I loved the characters and everything. This book is absolutely so good, and it's so awesome, and it's so lighthearted. I loved the disability representation paired with the queer representation. This book is excellent, and it's awesome, and it's so well done. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called It's All or Nothing Vale. This story is a middle-grade contemporary following a Puerto Rican Sapphic main character who's trying to find her way back to her life's passion after an injury, and her life's passion is fencing. I mentioned this book last week or a few weeks ago in my favorite gay sports books, and I'm talking about it again because I think it's so good and so fantastic. First of all, I love the poetry of the writing. It's set in 3 verse, and it felt so poetic and so lyrical and so well done. I love the pacing and the writing and the plot and the characters and the family dynamics and the Sapphic romance and everything about it. This book is excellent, and it's so underrated, and it's so good. I'm so excited for the author's next book, which I believe comes out sometime in 2026, but I'm not quite sure when exactly. It'll be probably on one of my monthly TBRs of 2026. But anyway, I'm so excited for it because this book was so good, and it was so fantastic, and I truly felt for all of the characters and everything, and all of the discussions surrounding, like, disability and whether or not she would be at the same caliber as she was prior and everything. This book was so good. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called Loverbirds. This story is a YA British contemporary following a young Sapphic main character who is navigating her ADHD, friendship drama, as well as her exams. I thought this book was so good and so well done. It's marketed for fans of Alice Oseman because, like I said, it's British, and Becky Albertalli because it's a fun, like, wholesome rom-com almost. Like, this book is so good and so well done. First of all, I loved the disability representation paired with the queer representation. I loved the characters and the friend group and the Sapphic romance, and, like, typically, I don't really enjoy an enemies to lovers romance, but I enjoyed this one because it's through a queer lens, and it's through a character who's unaware of her Sapphic identity, if that makes any sense. I thought this book was so well done, and it's so underrated, and I'm not quite sure if I'm still going to make a video talking about my favorite non-American Sapphic books, but maybe I will in the future. I will definitely include this one. But anyway, this book was so good, and it was so well done. So with that said, I would definitely highly recommend it. The next book on this list is called One Killer Problem. This story is a YA contemporary murder mystery following a young Sapphic main character with IBS who's trying to solve the murder of her favorite teacher. I thought this book was so fantastic and it was so good. I really, really enjoyed every single second of it. I think I read this book after I read Bianca Tolle Is Afraid of Everything, so I had really high expectations because I trust the author's reputation so much, and I'm still trying to get my hands on the latest middle grade book, A Little Too Haunted, I believe it's what it's called. But anyway, this book was so good and so fantastic. I love a cozy murder mystery, which is a weird thing to say about death, but I thought this book was so good. The mystery was so well paced. I loved the found family and the Sapphic romance and the characters and the disability representation and the queerness and everything. This book is absolutely so excellent and it's so well done. I really, really enjoyed it. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly, highly recommend it. The last book on this list, and definitely not the least, is called The Year My Life Went Down the Toilet. This story is a middle-aged contemporary following a Jewish Sapphic main character who discovers that she has Crohn's disease. Did I pronounce that correctly? I say after I just Googled how to pronounce it. Anyway, I thought this book was so good and so fantastic. As we all know, Jake is one of my favorite authors of all time, and I love all of their books so much. And this book was so wholesome and so well done. I loved the characters and the exploration of queer identity as well as a disabled identity. Like, I love the characters. I already said that, but I love them so much. I love the friendships and the Sapphic romance and the family dynamics and everything. This book is so fantastic and it's so good. Like, I think it's awesome and it's so underrated and it's just so wholesome and good and delightful and just awesome. So anyway, with that said, I would definitely highly, highly recommend it. So in conclusion, I'm pre-filming this video on Christmas Eve. So I'm really just opening the new year with diverse book recommendations. And like, if you didn't have any diverse book recommendations on your end of the year wrap-ups, then I'm judging you. Because I've given you so many opportunities to read diverse books. I've made so many videos about them. And if you haven't been reading diversely, then my videos are simply not for you. So perhaps, I guess, you're not even watching this, which is good because my videos are not for you. So anyway, in conclusion, if you enjoy this video, please don't hesitate to give it a big thumbs up. Comment down below the snowman emoji if you made it all the way to the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel if you're new. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.